Everybody, welcome back to 3 News Now. I'm Stephanie Haney, your host. Today is Friday, January 28th. Thank you for being here for the top stories from WKYC.com and our WKYC app. And when I say the top stories, I mean these are the stories that all of you are clicking on. These are the stories that you are reading, the people here in our community. So what we're doing here is we're filling you in on the information you need to know so that you can participate in the conversation happening here in Northeast Ohio. We start off with a story out of Pittsburgh. And listen, I know as a big community of Browns fans, we all have some feelings about the city of Pittsburgh, but this is not what you want to see. Not a great situation in Pittsburgh this morning. There was a bridge in the Point Breeze neighborhood that collapsed. And this happened as President Joe Biden was coming to the city to talk about that new infrastructure law, that $1 trillion infrastructure law. Talk about timing. Rescuers had to rappel about 150 feet to save some people, while others formed a human chain to get people from a dangling bus. There were about 3 or 4 vehicles on this bus when it collapsed. Now, we do know from authorities that 3 people were taken to the hospital. None of the injuries are believed to be life-threatening, thank goodness. There were 10 minor injuries, including injuries that were suffered by some first responders. No fatalities. Again, thank goodness. So what we know about this bridge is it was built in 1970, and a 2019 inspection showed that the deck and the superstructure were not in good condition. That's according to the U.S. Department of Transportation's National Bridge Inventory. So this happened while, again, Joe Biden in the area visiting to talk about the infrastructure law, which is exactly designed to prevent these kinds of things from happening. He did visit the site of the area after it happened. Now, it was a snow-covered bridge. It was on Forbes Avenue or over Fern Hollow Creek in Frick Park. It was about shortly before 7 a.m. this morning. So again, thankfully, no major injuries, no fatalities in that situation. Now, circling back here to Cleveland, Mayor Justin Bibb has promised to do better when it comes to snow removal, and one of those steps is a snow plow tracker, and I personally think this is genius. I was just having a conversation about this, about how you should be able to track the snowplow to at least know when it's coming to your neighborhood so you can plan. That helps people plan their day. So now there is a new tool available. It is pinned to the top of the main Cleveland website. We also have it linked on WKYC.com. You're going to want to go to WKYC.com or the City of Cleveland website in order to get to this, because the URL is long. It's a confusing URL. It's a tool, so there's not a really clean, direct line to tell you to get there. But again, go to WKYC.com, click on that link. So here's how it works. When a truck has its plow down, its snow plow down on the road, the GPS system will track where it's traveled, and that's updated every 2 minutes. It shows the location of a snow plow with a black dot on a map of the city of Cleveland. And when a green line shows up, that means that street has been plowed. Very simple, very user-friendly. That part of it will be updated every 60 minutes. So again, every 2 minutes, you'll be able to track where a plow actually is with its plow down, doing that plowing work. And then every 60 minutes, the streets that have been plowed will be updated. And this map will also, by the way, only be active, obviously, during winter weather. Now let's take a look at the latest COVID-19 numbers in from the Ohio Department of Health. It has been an interesting week and a half here in Northeast Ohio. On January 20th, just to take a look back, that was the highest official single-day reported total for COVID-19 cases since the pandemic began. Since March 9th of 2020, when we first learned of cases here in Ohio. Of course, that's not when the pandemic began, but that was when we first were informed that there was a positive case here in Ohio. On that day, 21,664 new cases. Cut to today, 9,444 new COVID-19 cases reported today. And our positivity rate is at 24.2%. But remember, this is 24.2% of all reported COVID-19 tests coming back positive. There are a lot of COVID-19 tests happening at home that we just don't have the information about when those do come back positive. Now today, the latest number of reported deaths in Ohio is 33,071 related to COVID-19. There are 4,528 people in the hospital right now, and out of those people, 893 of them are being treated in the ICU. Thankfully, these are numbers that we continue to see going down. Here's a good number for you, 175,000. That's the number of COVID-19 testing kits that Ohio is getting in a new partnership. And these are going to go to places that are underserved here in Ohio. Ohio Department of Health Director Dr. Bruce Vanderhoff told us this today. This is through Project, tongue twister right now, Project Access COVID Test, Project ACT. Access COVID Tests and the Rockefeller Foundation. That's the partnership that's bringing these to Ohio with 5 other states as well. So Ohio will get 175,000 tests, which will be available for home delivery. So people aren't going to have to go out and get these tests. They'll be delivered right to the home. Communities that are eligible for this are based on Centers for Disease Control and Prevention recommendations and data from the state of Ohio. We have a link on WKYC.com so you can determine if you are eligible to get some of those tests. Make sure you go check that out. And here's something new and innovative that's coming to Heinens grocery stores. You know, they've been in the grocery business here locally for 90 years, and now they want to add customized health in the form of a personalized nutrition center right inside their Mayfield Village grocery store. Jeff Heinen, who is the co-owner, says that they're a food store and they've always wanted to educate people about food. So we asked this question, why can't a grocery store be the pharmacy of the future? Think about that. All of that coming together. He said, so we started down this path to try and help educate our customers about food and health and how they're connected. So how this works is shoppers can go into this personalized nutrition center and they'll get a panel of tests. It's a blood test and a urine test. So this is not some self-fulfilling situation. This isn't something where people are self-proclaiming answers to questions or anything like that. This is a scientific blood and urine test. And then they'll get trackers back on their health, digestive, immune, and cardiovascular symptoms. And then they'll get to meet with a Heinens doctor and a dietitian to figure out where they stand and what they could be eating to improve all of those metrics. And then they'll have that information when they do their grocery shopping. Heinens has a chief registered dietitian, Melanie Jacek, and she says they're working to develop both a food and a supplement program to help move that needle in the right direction. And Chief Medical Officer Dr. Todd Pesic says they believe this is the future of medicine for a lot of reasons, and that's why they're going down this path. I'm reminded of a quote that I heard in a documentary. I believe it's the documentary Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead. And the quote is that food can either be the quickest form of medicine or the slowest form of poison. So this is a really interesting concept. Looking forward to see what happens with this with Heinens. Other new things. We now know that Nike has officially unveiled the uniform for the 2022 NBA All-Star Game. We did get that leaked earlier this week, but it's confirmed now. And they have a really poetic response for how it's tied to the city of Cleveland. So there will be a red jersey with white trim and a silver jersey with light blue trim. It's a Jordan brand uniform. It's paying homage to Cleveland and the NBA's 75th anniversary. I'm just going to read this statement to you from them because it's, like I said, it's very poetic. The uniform's typography is inspired by the architecture of the city's bridges and gives homage to classic all-star uniforms of the late 80s and early 90s. The colors are drawn from the silver prismatic shine of a diamond against the blue and red of the NBA logo in celebration of the league's 75th anniversary season. The blue also speaks to the prominence of Lake Erie, and the red is a variation on the fiery strength and resilience of Cleveland. I told you, pretty poetic, right? Today it was also announced that Los Angeles Lakers forward and Akron native LeBron James will be the captain of the red team, and Brooklyn Nets forward Kevin Durant will be the captain of the silver team. Now, if you were watching the Cavaliers this week, you know that they won over the Milwaukee Bucks, and that caused a lot of conversation. You know what else caused a lot of conversation is when Bucks forward Giannis brought a bucket of chicken wings to the post-game conversation. It was a bucket of Quaker Stick and Lube wings. He was answering questions from reporters, talking about the gameplay, and he said, "We sucked. We played bad," but that didn't stop him from enjoying his chicken wings. And former NBA player and ESPN analyst J.J. Redick shared the video. He said the best post-game wings in the league are in Cleveland. So there you go. Great spot to get some wings. Right now, the Cavs sit at number 3 in the Eastern Conference. They're tied for wins with the number 2 team, the Chicago Bulls. The Chicago Bulls record is 30-17. They have 2 less losses than the Cavs. The Cavs are at 30-19, so that's the reason the Cavs are in 3rd and not 2nd. And they're only 1.5 games behind the Miami Heat for the overall top spot right now in the Eastern Conference. A lot of conversation about a playoff championship run for those Cleveland Cavaliers. Let's see what happens. Let them know. And here is something very interesting that happened on social media while Baker Mayfield is not on social media. He was spotted in Los Angeles after his surgery, and one of his biggest critics, Fox Sports' Colin Cowherd, shared a picture of him out on Thursday night. He was at a restaurant called Slay Italian, which is apparently a restaurant that's owned by a friend of Coward. And here's what Coward tweeted. He said, "I've been critical, but I need to be fair too. Baker was at my friend's place tonight. Could not have been nicer and classier. David was really impressed. Made my night. Thank you, Baker Mayfield." David, of course, is the owner of that restaurant in Los Angeles. So I guess this means that Colin Coward's vow of silence about Baker Mayfield may have come to an end, or maybe it's only come to an end in terms of social engagements and not necessarily football play and performance. Speaking of play and performance, the final Jeopardy question ended Amy Schneider's history-making run. That was the other day. Her streak is over, 40 consecutive wins, nearly $1.4 million in prize money. The only one with more consecutive wins than her now is Ken Jennings. Remember, we had an Ohio native, Matt Amodio, who did very well. Well, Amy Schneider surpassed Matt Amodio in those consecutive wins. And here is the question that she went out on. The only nation whose name in English ends in H, which is also one of the 10 most populous. The answer is, what is Bangladesh? So her immediate reaction was she was sad, but also relieved because she didn't have to come up with any more anecdotes. Those are those stories about themselves that the contestants share during game breaks. Now here's a fun fact for you. Contestants don't get their winnings until their final game airs. So now she's got that close to $1.4 million burning a hole in her pocket, and she says what she plans to do is spend some money shopping and on traveling. And also, let's not forget, Amy is a Dayton native and also a huge symbol of achievement for often marginalized people, a trans woman. A lot of people having a lot of conversation about that and her success and elevating that conversation for that particular group of people. So congratulations to Amy. We are very proud of you as an Ohio native and looking forward to what you do, where you travel, and what you get, what kind of clothes you end up with all of that prize money. That's it for your 3 News Now update today for Friday, January 28th. We are looking into the weekend, and our 3 News meteorology team tells me it's going to be a cold one, you guys. So I hope that you can stay warm, get bundled up if you have to be outside, or if you want to be outside, get really bundled up. And I will see you back here on Monday with more 3 News Now.